So are you all familiar with the concept of the four humors? Anybody not familiar with the concept of the four humors? Okay. The Greeks based their medicine on the idea that the blood in particular, I mean the body fluids are one thing, but in the blood you could find four distinct aspects of the blood. And those distinct aspects were described as being earth, air, fire, and water, or the four humors. Phlegm, which is primarily the water element, or balgam. Safra, which is the bile, the fiery element, yellow in color. Balgam, white in color. Dam, which is blood, the red blood element. And sauda, which is the heavy combusted bile, which becomes heavy like sediment, and the heaviest part of the body, which is of the blood, which is the earth element. So have I covered all four there? Earth, air, fire, and water. Blood is red. Dam, it's the pardon me? So there's blood is the red element. That's the red blood. And that element that corresponds to air. It's warm and moist. To air. Air is warm and moist in the nature in this schema. Dam is sauda. It's black. It's your heavy earth element. The word in English is melancholy. And that was the word that's brought over into our modern language. We still use the term melancholy, right, to some degree. I mean, it's becoming less and less, but melon means black, chole means bile. Black bile was the combusted heavy bile, that if you have an excess of it, is the earth element pulls you down and creates a depressed sense, depressed experience. So in the traditional model of the humors, too much black bile causes melancholy. I mean, it is melancholy itself, literally. Good humor, a person has good humor, right? You know this expression, that still is in our language. That means they have the good humor, which is the red blood. They say that the prophet had an excess of the good humor of blood. And in fact, he, peace be upon him, used to let the blood, which was in excess from this vein in his finger in the springtime. So he would bleed himself in the springtime to release that excess blood, because he had an excess of that particular element. That element corresponds to air, to youth, to springtime. The emotional qualities that are connected to it are joy, happiness, good nature. Each one of these elements has an emotional relation, a season, and a balance of elements, earth, air, fire, and water. So have I covered all of them? I could have done a scheme. This is a handout I should have done. I'm sorry I didn't. But, you know, practically speaking, it may be hard for you to make use of this. People say to me, I'd like to learn the four-element theory. And I say, well, you're going to have to work at it. Because part of what you have to do is you have to learn how to extricate yourself from this other training that is embedded in you, which disables you from seeing things elementally. But there is a value in it. There is a value in beginning to understand and recognize things in terms of elements. So we have earth, air, fire, and water. Those are the four elements we want to try to understand. Those do. Rumi, in one of his poems, said, he made statement something to the effect of, here I am bound by the four walls of those elements. In other words, what he was saying was every experience he had could be defined and described in terms of earth, air, fire, or water. So in this setting, I am more fiery than you are because you're sitting passively. What sits passively? Elementally? Earth and water. So the earth and water is a strong element here. What is movement and active? Fire. Exactly. So this is a way of understanding things elementally. I flew here on the plane. Big chunk of earth. Right? Big earth chunk. Metal. tons, right? So how do you move Earth from its natural location, which is down here, boom, to the realm of fire? How do you move it from that realm? How do you do that? What do you need to balance that, to take it from Earth into the realm of fire? What?
Air and power.
And what else?
Air and
A lot of fire, called jet fuel. You need a lot of fire to lift that up, right? So this is a way of looking and understanding things elementally. It's not our norm. We do not think and live in this way. But there is a benefit in it because it relates to your physical body.